I'm very pleased with the walnut bow. It's basically exceeded my expectations. You can see there it's got a nice little hint of reflex left in it, which very much surprises me. I was expecting it to take some set or maybe crizzle on the belly, and it may well do later on. You can see I've shaped the grip, and as it happens it's just turned out to be quite nice. The heel of my hand wraps over the bulge there, and it gives it quite a nice sort of arrow pass and sort of sight window, if you like. It's slightly asymmetric but very comfortable in the hand. I've got the proper string made, so I'll brace it now and then show you it being drawn. Right, there it is braced. That brace height looks rather high there, but actually it is about 6 inches. I might take that down the whisker. Well, I know, going on my fisting mill, that's, if I go down onto the flatter bit of the limb, it's about right. The grip's quite tall. That's probably alright. Don't want too low a brace. What I need to do is make sure that the scale's correct. Yeah, the scales needs to go up a little bit, because we measure brace from the back of the bow. I mean, that confuses some people. For flight shooting it's often measured from the belly, because then if you've got a 27-inch arrow you can't actually draw it more than 27 inches without it falling off the belly of the bow. Now I'm moving this, adjusting this so I don't end up overdrawing it. Tighten that up. So this is one of the slight confusions, because that looks like a 7-inch brace, but that's 7 inches from the back. You measure brace height from the belly, so it's a little bit of confusion. I notionally draw 28 inches, but in reality these days, I don't know if it's age or what, or laziness, it's nearer 27, so I'll probably pull it to 27. I have taken a shot out of it and it felt nice and fast. Looks a bit scary. Whoa. I think I probably nearly hit 28 there. Kel Surprise, just a whisker over 40. It just tickles me. So my original target of 40 at 28 inches, yes, I've hit it. But that's just experience. I'm not trying to be clever or funny, but it just turned out. And it could have exploded, it could have grizzled, it could have done all sorts of things. It's a bit of wood I've not used before. It just happens to have turned out into a nice bow. What I'll probably do is try it through the chrono and go really light on some arrows just to see maybe it's got potential as a flight bow. As I said, I've shot one arrow through it and it seemed fast, but there's a slight, it's a bit of a trick there really, because I reckon 35–40 pounds is pretty much a sweet spot for getting a fast arrow, because if you double that, say you double 35 pounds and go to 70, the arrow's not going to be twice as fast. And if you half 35 and go down to 17.5 or something, yeah, I mean, you're not going to get a lot of oomph out of a 17.5 pound self bow. The higher the poundage, yes, you'll get more speed, but it won't be proportionate, and it gets harder and harder to get that extra speed. I reckon there's not a single sweet spot, but I reckon anywhere between say 35 and 50, you're getting a lot of speed for your buck, if you like, speed per poundage. After that, not so much. You need maybe heavier arrows. It starts getting, yeah, getting more complex. Anyhow, I've blethered on enough. A couple of points. I mean, I haven't bothered finishing it. The back's smooth. I'm not going to try and take the tool marks out on the belly where the weak point is. You can just see them. I don't know if I can get the light right. Let's get in there close. That's where the weak point was. I don't know if that's going to show up there. You can just see the saw marks still. Well, I don't want to take those out, because if I take those out, you know what will happen? It'll make a weak point and it'll crizzle. Don't know if you can hear the string tension. Quite a nice lot of string tension there. I'll review the video, and it's one of these, it may be a great shooter for a bit and then it might start crizzling, so you know, one shot doesn't necessarily mean a huge amount, but it's got where it is, and I'm quite pleased with that. I have a nice shufty down it. A bit flat on the back, and that's another thing where people talk about hand shock and this, that and the other, and arc of a circle tiller gives you hand shock. I reckon that's nonsense. What often gives you hand shock isn't hand shock at all. What it is these sharp corners on the back not being suitably rounded, so they dig into your knuckle and it hurts when you shoot it. It's nothing to do with the bow per se, it's a badly made grip, especially with laminated bows with a flat sawn piece of timber on the back. People often neglect to round the back sufficiently. You can glue a bit of leather on there or a bit of cork and round it, make it comfortable, but sometimes just a badly shaped grip, it will really dig in on your knuckles or your bones, and it will feel like it's kicking and shocky. And it's that fine-tuning, fiddling and fettling. I mean, I'll feel something like that. I'll put my hand on the grip and I'll sort of shut my eyes and think, well, where can I actually feel it? And this one, I can feel it just there, digging into my knuckle there. There's a pressure point. So just there, it needs relieving. And yeah, it fits nice and snug into the shape. It's hard to show that because my head gets in the way. Let's come around this way. There, it fits, you can see that curve fits into the shape of my hand. So that feels quite snug. These fingers can wrap over there. If I can feel it a little bit, I can feel that corner slightly on my knuckles. So take that edge off a bit. It's just fiddling and fettling, and it's a couple of minutes with a, not even a couple of minutes. That's a 10-inch half round bastard file, yeah, metalworking file. Just a that's all it takes. Sometimes just that. There's my other mark. And that can make the difference between, oh, that bow's got hand shock, to, oh, that's nice. That feels really nice in the grip. Bit of a bulge there. That's what I call the fiddling and fettling, and people don't really understand what I mean, which is why I'm explaining it. The other thing is the horn knocks. I mean, I've not bothered buffing them up or, you know, finishing them carefully now. In fact, the whole bow's never, it's not going to be a highly finished, you know, showpiece. In fact, while we're doing a bit of show and tell, can you see the line? We go through a growth ring there, and it's running very much along the length of the bow. So all this stuff about you mustn't violate growth rings and things, yes, especially with Osage, not so much with you. We've just demonstrated on this bit of walnut we don't need to, but maybe only because it's very wide and thin. I mean, I think we're 2 1/8 inches wide at the widest. If we look at the other limb, you can see we come through a growth ring here. And that is some of the point of playing with the worst bit of wood first. Oh, there's a nice line there. it's let me see what you can and can't do with the wood. You don't necessarily have to slavishly follow the received wisdom of everyone else. The stuff you read in books, the stuff I tell you, yeah, it's all good information, it's all genuine experience. It doesn't mean it's necessarily 100% true for all pieces of wood. So, become your own expert. And mind the hand shock doesn't get you, my dear.